Thanks for staying with us. So joining us is a professional master of ceremony, a senior trainer, and a budding entrepreneur at her own I think it's Talk Academy.
Yeah.
Talk Academy, yeah. With all these accomplishments under her belt, she's a force to reckon with. Through her passion for speaking, she has turned her skills into a profitable business, hosting events and training others in the field. Despite a degree in human anatomy, she has excellent skills in communication and event planning. These skills have enabled her to work with clients from multiple industries and high net worth individuals. Through her work, she hopes to inspire others to stay in their line and develop their passions and skills. We will be talking to her about passion and how she's managed to build her brand. But first, you're going to be joining us on the conversation. Welcome with us, Joyce Daniels in the building.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you.
So much. Thank
So
you.
you've been listening to what we're talking about,
Yes, I
this
joined at some point.
family dynamics of who should give away a bride, biological father or her stepfather. In the story that we referenced, the man is not her official stepfather because he's not married to her mother. But in the Nigerian context, there's usually the possibility where the woman has remarried. So there are different areas where she married a rich man or she married a poor man. Either way, the biological father was not the one that raised the daughter. And then when it comes to an adult, she wants to make an adult decision. Okay, I want my own father to be the one to walk me down the aisle or to give me away in marriage. In that regard, do you think we should uphold culture and tradition, meaning saying that it has to be a biological father, or should we understand and renew that notion, say, listen, whoever you choose to be your father should give you away in marriage?
Whoever you choose should give you away in marriage. He should also pay for the wedding. Full stop. Because I wouldn't have him give you away, but the other father is paying for it. That's the only issue I have with this particular situation. Pay for it, or don't ask for
But he
more.
can't afford it, but he loves you. He can't afford it.
Yes, you don't have to have a big wedding. You can have your daddy, your husband-to-be, and your mommy, 10 of you, 20 of you, in a room somewhere with a minister. It's still a wedding.
True.
You can do it at the rate that your father can afford if that's what you really want to honor him and for his love. That's fine. But don't tell me you have a 250 number of guest list and the person who is paying for it can't bring his own 20. These are the issues I have. As simple as that. Honor and love your daddy, please. Let him pay, or you pay with your man and have all your parents.
Let's even assume that you can afford it. So now you are grown, you've gone to school, you can afford it. Your stepdad don't really have to pay anything. But you just want now because you control everything financially, you want to bring your dad. Is that right also? Is there no way that you can balance it such that you can say, this is my biological dad for whatever sentiments, because Islamically, nobody else can give me out. It has to be my biological father. And for that sentiment, whether it was my life or not,
Yeah.
So it has
That's
to.
what happened in that
It has to be by blood, and except he's not available, he's deadbeat, he's unconscious, someone can step in from his family side. So, and I have a stepdad.
Does not want to.
Different
He's
story.
alive, but
If he doesn't want to be part, those are some of the exceptions. And my stepfather, who is not my biological father, is willing, is there. I can say, can both of you hold my hand? Just, can I do that?
So you've hinged on what I think is missing, one other thing missing in this situation, which is the communication. He wasn't told, it wasn't discussed, it wasn't agreed. There was a big gap. So I have other questions, like I have questions about how do you guys live your everyday life? Where did this gap come from? When did you, who didn't discover the gap on time? Because I don't think it just happened here. It's been there somewhere. Somebody was not saying something. So that communication is really key. I've emceed events in Nigeria where the father who gave the bride out was not the biological father, and the biological father was right there in the room, but because I raised her, the family had agreed I would give her out. And then at the reception, many times, she will now dance with her biological father. I've had different, and there are different cultures, or no, not cultures now, different tribes. So I've seen different
Very interesting.
dynamics at play.
That's true. You're an MC. You've seen quite a bit.
I've seen
So,
I've seen
Have you
all
seen some violent ones?
Yes, I have.
Can you give us some?
I have seen, I can think of one in Warri, 1 year. the two, so she was born with this woman, and her, who was divorced. So this man and his wife, mother and couple, and her own husband. And so the fight was now about same things. They had agreed, that was the thing. The meetings upon meetings had
communication
been had.
here.
There was communication, but on said day, some people from the father's side
That happens.
came on, and at some point, you know, in all honesty, the father, biological father, didn't want all that ruckus, but his people were insisting. So what? And they all had money anyway, so it wasn't even about there was money. That, I think that was like the
So even
most
though we are
violent.
agreed, but
Yes,
the African in us to say, what
Yes,
are you so
what
kind of
was
nonsense
it?
agreement?
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
not saying the African in us.
So this
And they broke bottles, they broke
they did
bottles, they
themselves,
disrupted the place for quite a bit.
Wow.
We weren't even sure the reception would really hold because this was service, and it was service and reception in the same area. So
Let me
the
pause you. I have a
event
call
plan-
holding.
yeah.
Remileku, thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, Auntie
Good
Mariah.
morning, dear.
Good morning, ma.
Oh, can hear you clearly today. Go ahead.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to share my experience.
Please.
So I'm triplets. The Yoruba call it better. I'm triplets. So we grew up to know our stepdad as our daddy. So there was a time we were sick, very sick. I think we were in GS3 then. So we were very sick, and my mom called her dad like, these children are sick. My dad said, he was in Benue. He said he's in Benue. He went for one admission for our step sister. Now that first sister is not his own biological child. The daughter is from another father. So now we were sick. We needed blood, and Mama was running around. Our stepdad had to step in, gave us blood, and all that. We were okay. So on my wedding day, my dad was rich. Because he's late now. He was rich. So he was like, he wanted this flamboyant wedding for his daughter. Can you talk to the phone? So my mom said, you are the father now. Okokulo kunre, all those Yoruba stuff. So he said he will walk us down the aisle, this, that. So he did. So my reception, my stepfather was totally out of it. He said he's a father, let him do anything he wants to do. He was so loyal, he didn't even want to do anything. So church, we were like 15 in the church. He walked me down the aisle. We were happy, everybody was happy. So nobody knows my plan. So reception now, people will be very, very much in reception. So it's time to dance with the bride. And I told the MC, just call my stepdad. And my dad he was angry and he left the hall. I was like, you can't have it all. You can't do everything because you were not there. You were not always there. So this person that was there, I have to appreciate him too.
Yes.
Well done.
So
Well done.
yeah, so since then till he passed, everybody there on their own, but I'm so happy I felt with you too.
So you compromised.
So that's my
thank you very
experience.
much, Remileku. So he biological walked her down the aisle. At the reception, her stepfather was going to dance with the first dance. So that's a compromise.
Mike getting
Which
all
is
serious.
fair.
So there are
So these are adult decisions I'm trying to get us to do.
Yes.
Because
But the father still didn't like it.
he didn't like it. But you see, this is where we need to go as a country, as a people, that certain things that we're used to, we need to begin to review it. Because she was able to make her independent decision, but the truth is that many people can't.
It's not cultural to dance.
I
In our culture, you don't dance with your father. It's not
Anyway.
You dance with your husband and go home. So she chose that one as a means to
compensation.
copy from another culture and compensate. Because maybe she heard the stepfather is loyal and extremely understanding person. He sat through it. He did not disappear from the wedding, but the moment they do dance, the father left. Imagine that.
Imagine.
So again, I mean, let me come to you because I know I said you experienced quite a few things. My concern is also the mother. The woman is like she's the what they call it, unifier. She's the woman.
The bridge.
What role do you think these women should be playing, especially to avoid these kind of issues from the beginning?
Communicate. Communicate early. Communicate clearly. Communicate in honor. You are really the bridge.
Yes.
And if you are not communicating with the children and the fathers involved, then that's a gap.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, in our climate, some children will never have a conversation until the adult initiates.
Yeah.
So, mommy, yes, that's your
Yes.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know,
Or daddy.
yeah. And you know the worrisome thing, sometimes really troubling thing about the bridge or the unifier is the bridge may not be an honorable person. I know we like to paint our mothers as if all of them are well behaved, they think well. There are some mothers that are looking at the situation and thinking, which will pay me more? Which will look better for me? And you see, create situations that they shouldn't have, arisen in the first place. This is the man that has always taken care of the child, but I'm not, we're not speaking now. He doesn't have the sort of money I need for the sort of wedding I want for my daughter. Let me take my daughter and go behind his back and talk to this man who's never been a part of our lives and sort of persuade him or blackmail him or, do something, intimidate him to bring out some sort of money that will make it a glamorous wedding on the day. And then you now find two fathers who didn't know what was happening, clashing with each other because the bridge did not do the proper thing. Yeah.
There's a message from Mr. Tijani here, which there's Yoruba in his...
Tijani?
Yes, no, his brother. Says there is a Yoruba adage that says, Agba toko di omo eni. Did I get it right? Which translates to helping in a child's upbringing does not make such a child your own. This proverb conveys a valuable message about the limits of responsibility and the importance of recognizing one's own role in someone else's child's life.
What did he say?
Agba toko di omo eni. My advice to the stepfather is to move on and consider these actions as good deeds with his rewards coming from God. I somewhat disagree.
No, I don't agree.
I don't agree with that.
Fully. Because, they said you cannot give something when he's dead and throw something away when he's dead or when you don't value it and then claim it when it's of value. You cannot abandon your child all their lives and tell the person that made sure they didn't die and that they are an adult now that what you do safe. You are at the height of ingratitude.
Yeah, I agree.
You should not even, snake better pass that person. But you know what they mean is, what they're trying to say is that in a case where there's this snatching thing that used to happen in those days where the rich man will come to the family and say, I will take care of you, plus your children will marry you. So in that case, you were slighting.
You're a helper. Yeah.
You're not helping.
You were slighted because you didn't
slighted them because he didn't have money. So he will tell you when he's of age that my child will find me. And it's a culture that we see, what do I call it, filial something, but we call it the blood will smell. Yes. It will find you, and those kind of things backfire. Yeah. But not in the case where this kind of abandonment, you did not show up, you did not do anything. I mentioned a friend that passed last year on the show, and her husband walked away, left her with 5 kids. So we did everything, and she didn't even wait to reap where she sowed. When she was sick, he showed up, just out of anywhere. And now he will tell the children, I will call you twice a week.
Let me take this call
so that
from
he can reap where he didn't sow.
His name is Wealthy. I think Wealthy, I believe. Thanks for calling.
That's a good name.
Hello, good morning, Wealthy.
Are you wealthy?
You better be.
Hello, I'm not sure again. You see, the reason why I want us to have this conversation, let me come to you, Joy, is because I really believe that we need to start renegotiating cultural traditions because these things are always happening. And I think it's time for us to make people take responsibility. The story she just shared, somebody abandoning your responsibility. And because you know that this is African culture, my child will come and look for me. Nobody's coming to look for you. You did not participate in this child's life because men have that thinking that they would find me, let me just go. No, maybe then they would find you. But today, the kids are saying, we're adult, I am making an adult decision where I'm saying the man who cared for me is the man who has the right to give me away. Now, that's my thinking, but traditional and culture will still say, nah, it's giving you that pull.
Women's Day many years ago, one of these events I was emceeing, the professor who was our keynote speaker, she's a professor in gender studies and something, I think Professor Joy or something, from somewhere in Nigeria. They had the statistics to show across Africa over 3 or 4 decades that women are the custodians of culture, not men. You asked the question about the role of the woman.
Yeah.
Whatever the woman had said would happen on that day is what would have stood.
Exactly.
That's the truth. Even in our homes, no matter what your father says, your mother will find a way and make sure it suits her. They showed evidence after evidence that it is women who teach their sons and daughters what is culture, not the fathers. Fathers will say, well, this is what we did, though. The mother will say, this is what you will do in my house. So we here are the custodians of culture, actually.
So we can tweak
We
it.
are the ones
So
who will
powerful.
have the conversations with the
profound.
men and say,
Love
CEO, CEO. And in our lifetime, we will see the culture change if we are able to own the truth.
I
That
love it.
we are the
Let
custodians
me take
of
this
culture.
call from Oladele, our final caller on this. Good morning, Oladele, you're live.
Yeah, good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I think I'm happy. I'm so excited coming off to this kind of program. What I wanted to say, part of what I wanted to say, Mama Kosi has said that. Like, what about if the father was there, for the baby all this while, emotionally, love-wise and otherwise, but he doesn't have money to run the family or to take care of the daughter. That shouldn't make the father a kind of an alien or whatever you call it to the daughter. No. And I think let me quickly talk to the step parent. It's our time to know that whatever it is, that baby they are trying to fight for, like the case of that man you're talking about, it's not his baby. It's not his baby. You're just there as a stepfather. It's not your biological. You should have that thing in the back of your mind that when it comes to such a thing, you should not kill yourself for that because it's not your baby. You're just
But you can't be
there for the sake of
living,
the money.
but Oladele, you
You're
can't be
just there
living
for
with
the
the
sake of the
child
money.
in your house and not regard that child as yours. You are living in the same house. So you can't say, oh, go and meet your father. There are things that as a father, you take her to the hospital, her birthday parties, you're there for her. So you're playing a fatherly
you are
role.
just
So you
there.
can't really
You're
disconnect
just there
like
for
that.
the mama's sake. That baby's not your baby.
Okay, all right,
tough
that's
to work.
that's a difficult one. We have to wrap up on this, but I think really in a nutshell, what we're trying to say really is that these are cultures that have bound us for many years, and these are things that as we're evolving, we retain culture, we keep tradition, but we modify it such that to benefit or to suit the times. The truth that there is honor in honoring, giving honor to who honor is due, and how you determine who that honor is due is you. You determine because you are the one that the entire episode, you experience that episode. So you are the only one that can determine who you believe that honor should. But in either way, I think it's really important for us to be respectful and to ensure that culture is ours to change. I really love what you said, that women, we are the custodians of culture, and we can modify it to actually suit where we are as a country. Let's go on a short break now. We'll come back, go into our interview and learn from our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.